corner, please. Is that all right?
Yes, yeah, that's totally fine.
Sure, I'll stay. Hello, Rich.
Hello, how's it going? So I don't know if this is in your wheelhouse or not. I have a friend who's, she's doing, Baha'i.
Are you talking to me or?
Yes, yeah, I'm sorry. She does, Baha'i children's classes, and they're doing a service project. They've gathered a lot of, mostly children's clothing, winter clothing and jackets.
Uh-huh.
And I know most of the people you talk to out there, don't qualify as children. But are you aware of?
Oh, I'm Amy, yeah. Oh, no.
You called this morning and just I brought him some handouts.
Okay, great.
I appreciate that, making that effort.
I'm trying to think of locally. Because the clothing banks that I know have stuff for adults.
Yeah, right.
Um,
Yeah, I know it has adults. But
And I know that
maybe just don't have an idea.
even Westminster Presbyterian Church,
Right.
I mean,
They've got that fish. Do they do clothing?
they don't have the room for it, so they don't.
Okay. Okay.
They don't
Yeah, I
even
was
like-
worried. I knew they had the food.
I get like a couple shelves and
Yeah.
that's it. So
Okay.
basically, I'll have gloves and underwear.
Okay. Okay. I don't know if Justin.
You would be good. Yeah, I would.
Welcome. I've seen you here and there.
I'm proud. I see you probably more than you know.
Hello.
The majority of the time.
Like a fox,
Excuse me?
like a fox.
Something like that. I watch a lot of the board meetings online.
Yeah.
Like I say, after talking with Justin.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
it's interesting.
look at this possibly.
They kind of, it's typically, I don't even,
Take a look.
I don't even talk about comment,
Yes.
you know, or respond.
Okay.
You know, and she was.
Yes.
It's like, but I also think that's been really rare, like very few. I think the one time that I've seen it is.
I hear you.
At the back.
And
Yes.
it's simple.
Yeah.
It's got to do with.
Oh my God.
I was like, oh,
It's like, well, I'm not gonna, it's not likely.
Getting pushback, well, we have to get them translated from English to, we do that on Google. And
Well,
it's the fact that
yeah.
you go over here to the off-leash dog park that they just opened. The night they opened, they had, the English.
Yeah, well, yeah, I don't know that it matters if it's hard or not. But you know, have you ever used Google Translate? It's kind of weird. Justin.
I found some documents.
So are you PRL?
yes,
So I'm Alan Farb and I was having a conversation with Eric.
yes.
And because I've seen Eric make presentations and responses, you know, he's very slick. He's very salesman-like.
Uh-huh.
His, you know, he's pretty bright. All the information comes through and I really had to stop him because with the homeless, and I never heard back from Jody.
Mhm.
Left 2 messages for him.
When did you send the email to Jody?
No, I called.
Okay.
Because I did not want to talk to PRL. Hey, I wanted to talk to Jody because
Your hair just like keeps on getting thicker than mine.
they won't.
That's why I don't cut it.
The city has on its website and I'm being told they won't do a
High school.
I am, yeah.
warming shelter unless it's 0 degrees, but the city council said 32 degrees.
Mhm. And I think the 32 was to activate
Director of all the
swap.
district.
Well, Swap has its own thing, but Westminster is in 2 counties.
Mhm.
Jefferson County does not have.
Yeah.
That program ended.
Mhm.
So, Swap is different.
You know.
So to say, if the city council says 32 degrees is a threshold to house people,
Yeah, exactly.
then the city, PRL shouldn't say it's 0 degrees.
And I think that's the kind of, for the Mac activation.
Uh-huh.
Yes, and I think it was still, I think that was discussion, but it kind of kept, it's still at 0.
Okay, because I also, when I just had gotten off the phone with Eric, I was going into a meeting with Counselor Azadi.
Mhm.
He thought that was not his word, my word, bizarre.
Uh-huh.
And it's incongruous, for the city, so the right hand says one thing, the left hand says another, but they're slapping each other.
That's,
So,
yes, I have a question for you. Maybe you might have a line on this. Our Baha'i children's classes are doing a service project where they're gathering up clothing. And what they have is mostly children's clothing, jackets, winter clothing. It's, can you direct me to a place where they can deliver that?
Yes.
Okay.
Let me confirm where exactly that is, because I know they shifted, but I will let you.
Okay.
That's great.
Super.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
That's,
Thank you.
thank you.
hello, Justin.
Hey,
Good. How are you feeling late?
oh, you know what? I have gotten, it's been a month of like sick, and
Uh-huh.
I had the stomach, and then I lost my voice for like 3 weeks.
Me too.
I'm just getting it back.
Me too.
So
It's going around.
Yeah.
yeah.
It's definitely going around.
Good for
Yeah.
a theater director.
No,
Yeah.
at least that's off. I had a film on yesterday. Yeah, and it was like this.
Mine.
Yeah, it was intense, and people that got the stomach virus, it was super intense for them.
So are you okay now, since you're not masked up?
I mean, do you want me to? Yeah,
Sit down there.
I feel good.
I just got over something 2 weeks ago, but I still have like after effect.
Yeah,
I've still got a little bit of.
couple.
Yeah, yeah. It stuff clings. All right. Waiting on is cake gonna be?
Hi, online people.
Hello, in life
Yeah.
people.
It's like her stuff's
Yeah.
here. Oh.
Not yet.
Okay, I don't want to be rude if I get up and walk out, but
Don't worry about it.
I've got a medicine appointment here in a little bit.
Yeah, it's
No
okay.
problem.
I've just been like, I can't miss my medicine.
Mhm.
No problem.
Yes, of course.
5. That all we need is 5, or do we need 6? Remember, we were trying to,
Conversation every month.
9 is, I
Yeah,
mean,
one,
so
two, three,
5
5.
so we have 5.
We are.
Thank you. Yeah, I know we have a conversation because the numbers feel like it changes a little bit.
Yeah.
It's like, wait, who's here? Who's not? All right. We'll just give it another minute. Let's give Kate another minute, and then we'll go ahead and get started. Is Counselor Demore joining us?
He is online.
Oh, perfect.
Yeah. He's there at the bottom.
Hey, okay. Beautiful.
And Steve was on for a
There he
second.
There he is. I like the propeller hat. Looks like you're gonna lift off any minute.
Yeah.
That's right.
You must be great at parties.
Well, I love that there's Christmas lights and there's like holiday lights in the backgrounds for 2 of the other videos I'm looking at. Yes. I love to keep up the decorations way too long. I'm from the South, so.
Yeah.
It's like I went through all the effort to put everything up. We're all going to enjoy it for 2 months.
Colorado, you're supposed to wait till after stock show, I think, starts.
Right, yeah, yeah, that's right. I heard, yeah. Yep, after stock show.
Steve.
Hi, it's Steve.
Okay.
Hi, Jillian. Good to see you, Seth.
Definitely have enough.
Okay. All right. Well, we will honor everyone's time. So it is officially 6:04. We will call this meeting of the Inclusivity Board of the City of Westminster to order. Hello, it's good to see you all. I hope you're staying well. I know there's a lot of stuff going around. So I hope you're taking care of yourselves. And of course, we're all here if you need anything or support, because I know when people get sick, sometimes it's a little bit hard, So Hopefully the holidays, for those of you that celebrated, have treated you well in whatever way you celebrate. So thank you very much. First item on the agenda is old business, review and approve previous meeting minutes. Do we have a motion to approve the meetings from last month, which would be December?
So move.
Okay, there's a motion. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Okay, and it's been seconded. Any discussion? All in favor?
I,
Okay. Is there anyone opposed? And does anyone choose to abstain? Okay, so moved. Thank you very much. Moving into the next item with building community outreach, we have Arts Week with community engagement. So I know Kate, we may come back to this and see if we wouldn't mind. I know Rich and I have some inside track, but if everyone is okay with it, there she is. All right, and presenting. Guy, thank you for doing your duty and keeping us all,
Try to
no, we just got into Arts Week, and so, I know
I'm here.
you're here, so yeah, thank you.
Okay, sorry about that. Justin and Kevin have been doing an amazing job. They are jumping in and really taking over the music element. So we're really lining that out for Saturday, May 3rd, a real diverse mix of music per the grant that we have through North Metro Arts Alliance. So we'll start at I think we're 3 to 5 at Colorado Sound, and then 5:30 to 9 p.m. at the high school. So we'll have some food trucks, but we're trying to, and I had sent an email earlier today to have it more scheduled. Last year, we had a lot of things going on at the same time. It was hard to market and it's a little bit confusing. And since we'll probably get all kinds of weather, because I don't have Leah's wonderful weather bubbles. Well, I manifest snow, so
be good.
I'm very good at that. But if it ends up being snowy, then at least it's clear what's happening from, say, 11 to, or 1 to 3, and then, 3 on. So that part's super exciting. The call for the muralists will go out this week, and we'll get back. We'll start getting people back. We have our meeting next week. I think we're pretty set. You gave me all kinds of contacts. I'm going to reach out to them, include them in the call for the muralist, and also to see if they want to display, if they're comfortable. I can do a little pop-up art gallery type thing. I'm playing with that, assuming it does. Oh, yeah.
It's not gonna snow. It's fine.
That's Monday.
No.
So yeah, and if anyone's interested in being part of those meetings, we're meeting virtually right now. Just let me know. I can add you to the meeting list.
Yeah, and if I could, I have just to add to
Oh,
that.
absolutely.
Rich has been great and has been a recent addition to that committee, so thank you.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, no, we've really been very much about trying to be conscientious around how we approach the diversity that is reflective of our city and of the persons and people within it. And one of the other things that we want to bring to the table is once we have kind of a draft of a lineup, we want to bring that to the table, talk about what are community access points to the music festival, for example. I know Rich has provided some contact information for other arts and like the visual arts and such. So we're going to really try to be very intentional. And what we would like to do is we'd like to propose bringing some of those drafts forward when we have them so that, we can get sort of the eyes and thoughts of this inclusivity board to just talk about how we can ensure access. So for example, if someone can't afford a ticket, can we provide some scholarship to make sure that it's not an issue of financially not being able to attend? We don't want to lock anyone out if they truly want to be in a space of performance. So we really talked about that and talked about, equity and access come in a lot of different ways. So we will have more information and we will be happy to share that with you. We feel that this group can be really a great group to give us some additional input and try to challenge our thinking a little bit so that we're all very much just thoughtful about this process. But we are excited about some of the first steps, and we are very, very much approaching it from we need to implement diversity in everything we do. So, yeah. And would you have anything to add?
I just, many of that long list I gave you, they're not all visual arts. Some are dance
Yeah.
groups, there's music, and there's a fair amount of diversity among them.
Great. Thank you. Cool. Hi, Donna.
Hi there.
Yes. Michelle. Seth, yes, I see your hand. Hi, Michelle.
Before we move on to other things, could I get a quick roll call of who's in the room? Because I can't see very well.
Oh, sure. All right, so we'll go ahead and I guess we'll just start here. If you're okay with that.
Alan,
Yep.
Justin,
Leah Krumholtz, the Senior Event Coordinator.
Kate, Cultural Affairs Coordinator.
Amy Roda.
Alex Reeves, Operations Manager.
PRO. Rich?
Okay, great. Thank you.
great, thank you. And to know, we do have a guest. Are you okay with me identifying you? Okay, Mr. Palmer.
Do we want to maybe move the agenda so that he can make his presentation, so he doesn't have to hang around?
Yeah, well, yeah, so,
Okay, so you're covered. Okay.
yeah,
You guys in your agenda.
Okay.
thank you, thank you, I
No
appreciate
worries,
that,
no
thank you,
worries.
yeah. Yeah, and so we will talk about that, but we'll get into old business and things, so. So thank you very much. Anything else on Art Week before we move on?
Don't have any more arts week. I do have hard copies if anybody
Okay.
wants agendas.
Yep, and there are hard copies, and we're happy to email any of those documents to everyone who is not here tonight in person. So, all right. Thank you very much. Moving on to election of chairperson and secretary. So it brings me great and unyielded joy to mention that Seth has confirmed that he's willing to serve through the end of his remaining term as secretary. So
Here.
Seth, you're the best secretary we've ever had. You may be the only one I can remember. So I don't even know if there was anyone before you,
So
but
do we need to approve that by affirmation or?
yeah, we probably should. So do we have a motion to accept that Seth will continue on as secretary?
I move that Seth continue on as secretary.
Okay, is there a second?
second,
Thank you. It's been seconded. So any discussion? We appreciate you, Seth, so very much. So
Mhm.
yeah.
Great
I
job.
just wish he could get those minutes to us faster.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'll work on that.
Yeah, like 2 minutes after. the meeting. All right, so any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Is anyone opposed? Does anyone abstain? So moved. Thank you very much, Seth. Moving on to our council report with Counselor Demott. Counselor Demott.
Wait a minute.
Oh, wait, what?
What about the chair?
Chair. You have to elect a chairperson.
Oh, is there, the election of chair? Oh,
is
I
there-
didn't see that. Oh, yes,
Is-
okay.
Is the current chair willing to continue?
The current chair is willing to continue. Also, the current chair does open up and say if anyone would like to assume that role and duty, please make that known now. Okay. Yes, so I would be willing, so there needs to be a motion to accept that Justin will continue until his term runs out.
So move.
Yep. Seconded.
Okay, thank you. Any discussion? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Is anyone opposed? Does anyone abstain? So moved. Thank you. Always my honor and appreciate all of you. Okay, so now moving into, thank you for catching that. I wasn't even thinking about that. Yeah, I tried to move right through it. All right, now Counselor Demott. I tried to breeze through that, but they wouldn't let me. So good to see you, sir.
Hey, how you doing?
Well, thank you. So what news, what reports do you have for us?
So this week was our first meeting of the new year. Well, it was actually our first study session. Our first public meeting won't be till next week. We went over 3 items so far this year. One, and I think all of them you probably will find some interest in. I know you've probably heard the topic of cell service in the city, and that is a challenge in a couple areas in the city. Unfortunately, there's a lot that goes into what that takes to get cell towers up, but there is a group who has asked to put a cell tower up off of I-25 at the Orchards Walmart. And so there was a concept review plan that came before us to show us kind of what their plan is. They still have to go through the official process. That's the first step in it. But that should hopefully increase some cell service up north. Council in a whole has really tried to figure out how we try to increase connectivity for folks, as that's an important safety issue, as well as just, it's important for people this day and age to be able to be connected. So the other concept review plan that we had was senior housing. So it's marketplace condos that were off of kind of the Huron area. So like 122nd, kind of across from where the academy is at. So that's, I think, 20 or 220 unit for purchase, I think is what they said. Again, this is the first step. It's a concept review plan, so it hasn't actually officially been submitted yet. But that's the second senior housing that we've seen recently. We recently approved a purchase of some downtown property that would be affordable senior in the downtown. So I know you guys have been working on that. And if you looked at our housing study, that was an area that really was keyed in on, was not just affordable, but senior affordable and just senior housing across the board. We need more of it in each different variety. So those were positive things in my view. And I figured you guys would be pleased to hear some of that movement. The other thing that I would point out in the citizen survey, if you looked at those results from the residents, one of the things that was keyed on was people who live here don't look at this as a place to retire. And I don't think that that's really where we want to be. So I know that we have some great places such as Donna's home, but we definitely can afford to have more as we know we have an aging demographic. Um, and then trying to think what the last thing that we talked about was. Those were kind of the two big ones that we went over. Any questions on that?
Dave, do you think the movement in the senior housing from developers is reflective of the market changes in general, or because they can get a lot more subsidies for senior housing than they can for typical residential?
No, I think it's actually market forces, because even with the subsidies, I mean, well, and not everything we've put in has been affordable. So I think that you're seeing there's just a need for it, and so here in Colorado and the nation in general, the silver tsunami is it's a real thing, and we're starting to see it. So it's just a need of the product, and obviously the market's trying to correct for it. I did remember the other thing, and this is important. It's been one of those weeks so far. My wife and I were joking around like they want us to work 5 whole days straight this week because I haven't done that, at least not at one job in a while. But we had our first view of the full vision plan for the Parks and Rec and Library. We also recently, right before the end of the new year, had the same presentation for just the library. And so even though that's the same department, there's a couple different plans that are being put in place. And so we were able to give some feedback as a council on that initial part of the vision plan. This is the last month that they're gathering kind of public feedback, and they were gathering our feedback. Some of the things that council brought up were safety in parks, senior programming, youth programming, childcare was brought up. So just a lot of good stuff going on in that area. If you didn't hear at the kind of tail end of the year, Tomas left the city, and Eric Alselberger has taken the reins as the interim. He's really hit the ground running. I have to say he's been with the city a long time, and I've been impressed so far with him. And he's gotten a lot of stuff done. One of the other things he's starting to help with the movement on getting disc golf back where it was over by City Park. That's something that council, said we need to basically honor our commitment to the community when we took that out, saying we were going to put it back. So he has some good ideas on how we have, kind of something quickly, but also maybe more long term. And so he's worked with council on that. A lot of us went out and toured the site and kind of looked at what's going on that Big Dry Creek and that open space to kind of grade and make it safer and the waterways better. But so that's exciting too. And I know that you guys were going to get a presentation from Parks and Rec, as well as the youth advisory panel that the mayor is visiting with them tonight. They're also getting a glimpse at the work that's being done in that department.
Thank you. Any questions or thoughts for Counselor? Yep.
The senior housing that you said the city bought property, where is that?
The city sold property in the downtown.
Oh, okay.
So the WIDA board that manages the property that the city owns, we had a purchase sale agreement with a group that's going to be doing senior housing in the downtown.
Okay.
And is there an estimate of how many units?
There was, I don't remember, Alan, off the top of my head. We certainly could get you that information. I'd have to ask back. They're still in the very preliminary part of that. So I wouldn't marry to whatever they put forward at this point. It's still kind of conceptual, but it is going to be senior affordable, but I'm not exactly sure. They kind of have a target area of what they want to go after. I just don't remember off the top of my head what it was.
We do have a source in the room that estimates around 50 is what.
1 2 bedroom.
Yeah. So
It'd be interesting to know what the level of affordability is we're talking about.
Exactly.
That means so many things.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. And I don't want to give you bad information.
Sure.
I seem to remember it being pretty diverse. I will say though too, one of the things earlier in my comments I mentioned having a mix is really important, because we certainly have folks that may not qualify for that who live in the city, who want to stay in the city. And I know that I've heard throughout my time, even like early on when I just even was running for council, folks talking about being able to have facilities for their loved ones to age nearby. Because typically families, a lot of, like, my neighborhood's a good example. A lot of people who live in my neighborhood I went to school with, and when they got their family started, they decided to do it in this neighborhood. So we want to have those opportunities across the board. Another example, I'll tell you, my parents have looked at some different ones over time, and with my dad's pension as a policeman, there's some of that affordable stuff that he may not be able to qualify for, but he needs to find somewhere where he's going to land if he decides he doesn't want to stay in their home.
I'm glad to hear it's mixed, or at least that's the projection.
yeah. Donna, I see your hand. Thank you.
Yes, Dave, you're right on. Even where I live, I would say the percentage of residents that live here that actually came even from the metro Denver area, to move in is maybe 20%. Most seniors go somewhere where their kids are to live. So your point's well taken, and that's very true. I can speak from experience there. Although then you have those the parents that go there and then their kid decides to retire and move somewhere else, so they have to pick up
Yeah.
again. But anyway, I
Yeah.
share that with you just to know that's very true. It is not, but there are people, as you say, who grew up and lived here for years and years that want to come into a community that's right in the city. So that's important.
Yep. Thank you. I appreciate that.
Mm-hmm.
Thanks, Donna. Okay. Any other questions or thoughts for Councilor DeMott? Oh, yep. Steve, please.
Just one other thought. I may be jumping the gun before the PRL staff got a chance to present the vision plan, but one of the obvious points that stood out to me was the under-resourced library situation we're in, including just the lack of appropriate number for a city of our size. One thought in terms of senior housing is you can marry libraries with senior housing. It's been done across the country quite successfully. And I would throw that out as opportunity to kill two birds with one stone in some
Sure,
ways.
sure. No, no, I appreciate that. And I think the library conversation is an interesting one in terms of what we provide being a full service city, but also kind of where it's spread out. Like all our libraries are in the Adams side, where we also those of us in the Jefferson County side of the city, we've been paying, taxes in the libraries. We have the Stanley Lake Library, which is nice, but it makes it difficult to look at that and really understand exactly how it lays out in terms of use. But they do have some challenges in the libraries that we're going to have to figure out. And some of that, when we talked about that conversation, is how does technology play in? How are people actually getting content now? Are we utilizing those newer ways with like, I do a lot of audiobooks. So there's a lot that goes into that conversation. Luckily, we have very capable, smart staff in those departments that are working on that stuff. So I don't have to figure it out. I just have to hear how smart they are. So, but there are some challenges. And I think from the council perspective, we're just wanting to make sure that we're, looking at how diverse our offerings are. Are we making sure that we're serving everybody and nobody's being left behind with the things that, our staff is offering?
Thank you. Okay, any other questions or thoughts? All right, Counselor, thank you so much. We appreciate you.
Yep, I appreciate the time. And just in case I have to drop before you guys leave, my first policy in Pilsner, on a personal note, is next week, Thursday, Cocopelli, 6:30. If anybody wants to join us, love to see you guys. I know this group sometimes attends, so hopefully we see some of you there. And I always appreciate all that you guys do for the city.
Thank you. All right. Of course, if anyone needs to take care of their needs, please feel free to do so. And we can't stop you if you're at home. So, we don't know. But if everyone is okay, we'll move into new business. And I'd like to welcome our guests, Alex and Leah. Alex, I know, has recently, relatively so, onboarded with the city. I've had an opportunity to work directly with him on a few projects, and really am excited about your vision and energy. And I know you're here to present a little bit of what the future might look like for our parks and recreations and libraries. So, yeah. And then, of course, Leah is the holder of the keys of all things events. So I think they're probably going to sort of duel and tag team a little bit. So we'll give the floor to you. Welcome.
Thank you. I need to go in, plug in.
Okay, great. Yes.
Presentation.
Like he's going first, but he could practice.
First I could practice.
No practice, it's fine.
I know, I'm like.
I know, that's. You would go downstairs and you're like, oh no,
I know, it's like, what's going on?
It's very difficult.
Can everyone see presentation?
Yes.
Steve, I see that. Okay, great.
Perfect. Well, thank you again. I'm Alex Reeves, again, Operations Manager. And as Councilor Demott said, we did the presentation on Monday with City Council during the study session, and we really got some great comments, some great questions, some great feedback. So we kind of doing a road show and kind of hitting all the boards within City of Westminster. So we really want to kind of focus on the community engagement, really kind of getting the feedback. So your feedback and comments is definitely welcome as we kind of have to start this business plan. So this project is definitely been a heavy load and a lot of great material. So that the draft plan is about 88 pages within the draft plan, and then we have appendices, which that's about 600 plus pages also too. So there's definitely a lot of great information, and we did heavily on community engagement also too. So that's all included in this plan.
Thank you.
So just really want to give a snapshot of PRO by the numbers, and it's quite impressive of what we do. We 7.1 million square feet of right-of-ways and medians that's maintained within the city, about 13 year-round FTEs. We have 1.29 billion in physical assets. So that's all our assets, not including land. So if you wanted to replace everything now, it'd be 1.29 billion now in assets. And then, especially in our rec centers, we have over 1.1 million annual visitors. In the library, we circulate over 279,000, 379,200 in library items circulated. And then with our events, 83,000 plus. And that's not only including special events, it's all our events that we have within PRL. And then a good thing is we the first and only flying trapeze in fitness school in Colorado. So that's a good thing. So really something unique within Westminster. So I want to kind of touch base on this engagement. That's what we really focus on as a city approach. We really want to kind of have that community first model and really kind of engage the community when we kind of do these plans. And we really actively engage 3,500 community members to date. And just over 250,000 when it comes to impressions with social media posts, also when we send out emails. So really getting all those impressions and touches when it comes to engaging the community. And then we also went above and we really kind of partnered with the Community Foundation, and she really did like 14 focus groups to really kind of hit those areas that are not always represented when we kind of do these engagement processes and surveys. So we really wanted to kind of touch base and kind of really hit the Latinx and Latinx community, as well as individuals experiencing homelessness and also participants under 18. So we want to really kind of give that full approach when we went to the community engagement. And actually we have it all that in the appendix within the plan, and that'll be on like the chapter 1, beginning on page 13. So it really kind of goes in details with everything that we did with the focus groups and what was the responses that we got back. As you know, like PRL as well as the city, we are in like a paradigm shift. So we were focused on really expansion and growth, and now we really focus on the redevelopment phase. So that's where we really shifting our assets to kind of have into that redevelopment. And not saying we should turn away from bringing new things in, but that's really where our focus really kind of shifts right now. And just with all the community engagement, this is what the plan is, the recommendations, really the planning areas, and really to have more fiscally support, to deploy resources around the city, to reinvest and maintain parks, open space trails, recreation facilities throughout the city. And also we identified 5 fundamental functions, which is health and wellness, child development, economic engine, community connections, and resilience and sustainability. And also focus on a level of service, which we have the categories to really kind of have that equitable distribution around the city. So that's kind of recommended. Oh, got a mind its own. With the recommended distribution of resources and services throughout the community. And then also we kind of created a more useful classification of standards to really help us assist with the inventory, planning, and asset management relating to parks, recreation, and facilities, also as well as the trails and open space. So a great thing that we really a lot of feedback that we got, it continuously came up with the community, and within the plan, we really identified like 9 key themes with the community. And those 9 key themes really focus with the community is equity and inclusion, care for what we have, connect the city in regards to trail connectivity, sustainability, partnerships, love for libraries, a home for history, arts and culture, linguistic inclusion, and continuum compassion. And this is from engagement with the community, with the statistically valid survey and all these focus groups. So that kept on coming up as a recurring theme. And also, this is also with all that, we kind of tied all those 9 key themes within our goals and objectives with how PRL is kind of plan and deliver. So also I just want to touch base when it comes to community priorities, also when it comes to facilities and amenities. So these was the top priorities that we kind of also got when we kind of with Statistically Valid survey, as well as the community engagement within the focus group. And then also want to touch base on the top 5 with priority investment was for community events, outdoor skills, safety courses, how-to classes and workshops, outdoor adventure programs, and winter recreation programs. was the also priority also to in a statistically valid survey. And with that survey, we mailed out to over 2,000 residents, and to have a valid statistics, we had to get at least 400 back. So we got over 4. You got a 446 that we got back to make it statistically valid within that survey. And as Councilor Delmont said, yes, we tonight we're doing Inclusivity Board as well as the YAP meeting. Tomorrow we're going to present to the Parks, Recreation, Libraries, and Open Space Advisory Board, and then you should have the draft. The draft is actually going to be open on January 3rd. So we wanted to give you all time to kind of read through that draft. So you kind of need your comments on there, because your comments really want to tie this in within the vision plan before we take it back to City Council to kind of adopt the plan. And then also on January 29th, we have an open house that we also invite in the community. So that will kind of go out too, and we have some boards with the plan and some boards to kind of go and also leave comments too. And that'd be at City Park, right, from 4:30 to 7:30 on January 29th. And that was my brief update on the plan. Do we have questions or comments? Please.
I actually was this morning, before I went out, I read as much as I could, and I think I got through the bulk of what was sent out.
Yes.
And I noticed, so page 56 is of it. It's it's your goal number 1, provide places, programs, and services that value our community's diversity, interests, and needs. And I think that might be particular to us as this, and there are 6 objectives under that. And I saw 4 of them as being very apropos to the Inclusivity Board on that. So if you get a chance, one says, ensure equitable access to high quality parks. So equitable access and trails and natural areas for all residents. Objective 1, 2, offer diverse and inclusive programs. I think you just mentioned that cater to the unique needs of the community members. Objective 1, 4, foster community identity through the provision of public art and historic preservation. And the other one that hit me was 1, 5, implement effective communication strategies that encompass multiple languages to reach all community members and promote engagement. So I think that one section struck me as something that we might want to buy into and work on.
Yeah, and I was going to say I would amend that, but I don't think I have the power to do that. But you talked about that kind of accessibility in terms of language. I think we would also want to not just spoken language, but also American Sign Language for hearing impaired, for vision impaired, and make sure that those kinds of, that we think about that when we're communicating.
Donna, I see your hand. Did you have some thought that you wanted to share?
Still up?
Or was that a previous hand? The ghost of a hand from hands past? Okay. I did, thank you very much, Alex, for that very nice kind of, overview. You talked a little bit about redevelopment as opposed to bringing, not that you're going to stop bringing.
Yes.
But you're talking about redevelopment. Are we talking about redevelopment of programming, redevelopment of, or repurposing of existing physical structure? Is that kind of all on the table? Like what, when we talk about redevelopment, are we really like, that's the priority of looking inward and seeing how we can leverage and maximize and maybe shift the programming needs to fit the needs of our community?
Yes, and no, we still, because our programs are very successful. Sure. So we're also looking at the redevelopment as some of our facilities, those assets are the 25 plus years old. Yeah. So we really have to kind of look at those items to say, hey, yes, they highly functional,
Yeah.
but we have to kind of have that focus.
So we're really talking about the physical.
Physical, yes.
benefits when we talk about redevelopment.
Yes.
Okay, I just wanted to
Yes.
be clear on that.
Mhm.
So, and then that I think brings some additional credence to what Steve had talked about and thinking about ways in which we could, down the road, look at how we might redevelop and repurpose such things, with feedback. So, okay, great. Thank you. Other questions, thoughts, or? Okay, well, thank you very much for the great work that you're doing.
Alex, before you run, I had a quick question. One of the interesting things I saw in the vision plan was the idea of planning and operations districts. I just wondered how those might work if the council approves that model, and particularly in terms of making sure that resources are fairly shared among the various districts.
Yes, and that we actually kind of talking about that now. So it's definitely going to be that trial and error base because when you have those districts, you really envision that you have like hubs that's kind of stationed in those districts, and that requires another asset.
Yeah.
So we need kind of reaching out like with partnerships also too to kind of help. And when we look at when things get built, it's like, hey, how can we tie in with that? So really kind of having that dialogue right now to see how we kind of really develop. Because like right now we have the parks ops, which is like centralized, then we have like raw property. So really going to one end of the city, doing the maintenance and stuff, and it's kind of that drive time coming back can be kind of daunting and kind of like loss of time.
Right.
And thank you. So did January 13th, the window opens.
Yes.
For official draft feedback and closes on the 3rd. And what I heard you say, or maybe a request, is for us to look at that draft specifically and really get some ideas for feedback.
Yes.
For you. So we'll just use that link or the appropriate form.
Yes, and the link is great because you can leave your comments right into that. So it's like it's set up that you can kind of leave comments, questions,
Great.
and within that link, and we get all that information back and kind of dissect it from there.
So that's something different than the email or the link that I had just to look at the.
Yes, we wanted to kind of get it in your hands
Okay,
before it
okay,
goes like live, so you can have a lot more opportunity.
got it.
We appreciate that. So, but the official draft feedback window opens on the 13th.
Yes.
And you'll send me that.
Yes, and I'll send you a link.
Perfect.
Mhm.
Okay. And I would also encourage, any members of the board that, see something, I think, and Alan, thank you very much for that thoughtful observation. But if anyone sees something that really resonates with, ooh, this really hits the purview of the Inclusivity Board, I would encourage you all to maybe bring that information back to our meeting, and we could even have some discussion in February about maybe how we can support that work if it officially moves forward. So, great.
Thank
Thank you. Thank you very much for your time.
Yeah, thank you.
And friendly.
Oh, yeah. I got you.
Okay. There we go. Yeah, sure. Maybe. Everybody could see it? Looks good. Okay, thank you. Yeah, so our team has been working on the 2025 special events for Parks and Rec. These are events that operations does. There's a lot of other events within PR now, but we're just going to hit the ones that Michaela and I plan for the city. So I have the dates and some fun pictures. But the adult egg hunt this year came back and we sell out. So it's about 350 to 375 attendees. It is a ticketed event. It's at Walnut Creek. The idea was to have some exposure to the golf course. It's not necessarily in a normal event setting in a park, but the golf course is kind of a neat venue for them to come and see something a little bit different in the city. So lots of prizes. It goes 3 to 6. There's 2 egg hunts. And we work with a lot of businesses in Westminster to gather prizes and hopefully drive some more business with gift cards or drink tokens to breweries. Armed Forces Day will be Saturday, May 17th. I see my typo. It's actually 10 a.m. to 11, not 11 to 11. Yeah, I was like, and you're released. It's at least an hour, I promise. I kind of threw this together. So this is our traditional armed forces ceremony. We induct bricks that the public purchases or gets donated over the year. So the deadline for that is usually February 1st. And those bricks go into the garden. We read the names on Armed Forces Day. Movies in the park, we are at 4 this year. We kind of had record-breaking attendance at about 4,300 attendees, and that is over all the movies. So they range from about 800 to 1,100 each. That's a free night. People pack picnics, or they have some food truck options as well. So we'll do May 30th, City Park soccer fields. We were able to get Westminster High School last year, so that was a lot of fun and a great venue. So we're going back. This year, we were able to get Amherst Park up north. Big Dry Creek just doesn't have enough parking, so Amherst was a great facility for us up that way. And then Legacy Ridge Golf Course on August 29th. So again, kind of popping an event into an unexpected place, but resounding success. We haven't picked movies yet. There's a lot of blackout dates and some things, and my boys are older now, so it takes a little longer for me to pick kid movies. Summer block party down on 73rd and Bradburn, so around the rodeo market. That is 6:30 to 8:30 p.m. We broke our record again this year with 1,400 attendees. The school district provides hot dogs for the community, and then there's a band and just a lot of community members down there enjoying the day, fire truck rides and honking the ARB's horn in the driveway for the PD. So Top Taco, this is a partnered event, so they come in and I know you can see they have luchadores, lots of tacos, lots of tequila. They work with a lot of area restaurants as well. So great popping in an event from Denver that was typically held in Denver and Westminster, and everybody loves the park, the views, and just what Westminster has to offer. So kind of a neat exposure. That's around 5,000 attendees. New for 2025, and this is still being kind of planned and outlined, and some things we're working through. But ideally, we have Fabu Fest, which is our Westminster Pride Fest. That was brought up last year by council to hopefully be able to do in 2025. So it'll be across the street at McFall Park. We already kind of met with the Eagle Plus group this morning, you guys today, and then we'll work with other community members to hopefully have a Pride Festival here in Westminster. 4th of July celebration, again, breaking a record, 11,800 people, and it felt like it this year. Free events, again, everybody can pack in a picnic. You can buy from food trucks. We run shuttles from all over the city. So from the MAC all the way over from Westview. So try to hit that so people don't have any transportation barriers and they can get to the event and have a great time. Westie Craft Brew Fest, that's a ticketed event. We are Saturday, July 26th at City Park. We have a VIP hour, about 2,000 attendees. We do have a very involved Westminster breweries that come and pour. And then we also do some ones from around Denver. And then every once in a while, a little bit outside. I think we had one from Utah or something this year. So we've kind of had to expand after COVID, just some breweries closing and some shifting there, but great events. Our theater series this past year was down on 73rd around the rodeo market. That was the last night of Red Barker. So we worked with the Catamounts. It's to be determined, but they really loved Spooky October. So we had about 600 attendees with their show run down there in that area. We might even look at possibly like the Bowles House or something else to maybe do another historic piece or maybe something original, but that is to be determined. Westie Fest is Bestie Fest. So this is our largest festival. It's October 18th. That is 12 to 8. Sorry, I don't know. To be determined. That is City Park. We did grew out of downtown, so with all the development and stuff, so that definitely is at City Park now forever. It was a little bit of wonky weather, so we dropped down from 42,000 to 37,000. But not a bad day. Again, people can pack in, they can buy. We have about 25 food trucks. We added a stage this year, so that gave us the capability of running even more community entertainment, like almost like a community stage. So we were able to get like Chancer's Huli, Samba Colorado, which does Brazilian dance. Los Dalios is a all-female mariachi band. The taiko drummers and a Polynesian dance group as well. So we were able to get a lot more music into that festival. Veterans Day, November 11th. That's the correct time, 10 to 11. Armed Forces Tribute Garden again. Last year we had about 160 attendees. And we cap off the year with holiday lighting ceremony here at City Hall. That's 5:30 to 8:30. That's also a free event, so people can come and enjoy visiting Santa, seeing the lights. We do have food for purchase. We hand out free spectacles to everybody, which are a huge hit. And this year we also broke our record. So we had about 7,000 attendees. The entertainment for this, there are a lot of school groups throughout the 3 districts. We got School of Rock this year, and then we also had Spirit of Cambodia. So we're able to get quick little entertainment there on the stage. So, and that is our lineup.
Great. Thank you.
Yeah.
What questions or what thoughts or comments anyone have with Leah's information? Yeah, Alan.
So there are a lot of fun things, and of course, the Veterans Day is an important recognition. One thing I see missing, January 20th, Martin Luther King Jr. Day.
Yes.
Nothing?
No. So.
Because I have some interest from some residents who would like to do something.
Okay.
But we're pretty pressed for time, right?
They can certainly develop their own events.
Yes.
If you want to connect them with me, I can walk them through the special event permitting process to encourage the development of community festivals. We waive the fee, and many times we'll waive the rental of the facility as well.
Yeah.
Or for new community events. Yes. So that's been a good process for us. I can help them. It's not daunting. It looks scary, but it's pretty easy.
Kids fast.
So if it were something, for example, like if there were one of the underpasses that has not been fully painted, could it be for adults and children? Because one of the people had said specifically she wanted to have her children included on this, to do using chalk, which later could be.
We could definitely talk about that. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, we just have finite staff, finite budget for our community events. And like Kate said, a lot of community groups will go and do permitting. That's actually kind of the model. And like Denver, Boulder, a lot of those community events are usually community led. So
Because it's a day, it's a day of service.
Yes.
To
Yes.
the community.
absolutely.
Yeah. And for stuff like that, we waive the special event permitting fee and we work with them on the facility as well. So.
Okay.
Thank you. Donna, I thought I saw your hand pop up. So did you? Have
Yes,
some-
it is.
Oh, thank
I
you.
was just going to ask Amy. Amy, is there any possibility that some of these events and activities that are in the evening and later in the day, that we here, in any retirement community could have access to some kind of transportation? We have our own buses to some degree and we have drivers, but most of the time they're so busy during the day getting people to the grocery store or to appointments or things like that, that by the time, the late afternoon, early evening comes around, they're not available. Is that something that that you would consider at all, making that sort of thing, at least the possibility of some events that we might be, because I know we have a number of residents that live here at Covenant Living that would be more than anxious and would love to attend some of these events.
Yeah, we kind of had some transportation issues with 4th of July because there's like too many too many stops.
Yes, but I know
Um,
I've been there on, yeah,
Yeah,
right.
yeah. So we actually whittled down some of the stops with ones that weren't quite as full as others, just to like cut down on confusion and get people in and out. I would say maybe we could looking at like our rec van and whether or not there's availability with one of our drivers to do a pickup and then either take them to the event or take them to another shuttle stop to get in. We
Sure,
do
sure.
ADA buses, so that's not a problem at all. But yeah, we do have quite a few shuttle stops for 4th of July, but we did have to whittle down with like the almost 12,000 people mass exiting at
Of course,
that. But
of
yeah,
course.
no, it's something like if we could get a driver and do that stuff, we do have a bus. It is like 4th of July is a holiday. I don't know if they would be able to do it, but we could always look at something like that as well.
And actually, I was not necessarily thinking about the 4th of July because I know how that can be. I think there were some of the others where clearly, they were not, was not overly crowded and attention. And
Mhm.
so I was just kind of wondering, I may try to get in touch with you and then connect you in or connect our resident
Mhm.
life director with you to see what we might be able to put on our calendar too.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we do shuttles basically July 4th and Westy Fest and Top Taco. Those are the parking issues. So yeah.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
Mhm.
Yeah. Thanks, Donna. And to your point, maybe if we had some regular shuttles to all of the events, like, for those access points, that would be a really great way to build that community, that center. So thank you. Yeah,
Absolutely. Mhm.
yeah. Thank you for that. Any other thoughts or questions? So I know, yeah, what do you feel we can do for you as far as any of these events? Like, would you like, we've talked about, representing in different ways. We've talked about helping and supporting in different ways. We understand, like you said, your energy and your resources and time are finite.
Yes.
Your dreams are,
Yeah.
are expansive, but our energy
It's like
is
you're all event coordinators.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I think, first for you guys to know that you have an opportunity to do outreach at any of our events. So, if that's an interest, we do kind of applications. That's pretty common with our boards and then also our internal city groups, just so we know who's coming and keep track of everyone. But you have the opportunity to come to any of the events and do outreach. We always take suggestions for entertainment and those kind of things or art activities that we might be able to get in. So yeah, anything you guys have as far as, resources, suggestions, if it's something possible, then we will look at it.
And Spirit of Cambodia actually came to us through a connection through the Inclusivity Board as part of the Heart Effects program.
Yes.
So we ended up
Yeah.
on a connection of a
Thanks,
connection,
Sharon.
and we was able to bring them into Arts Week last year.
And then they got
So-
snowed out, but then we were able to redirect some of those acts to other events. So yeah, so
Great.
Mhm.
I think I saw Jillian's
Yeah,
hand.
Jillian, jump off.
Yeah, I just had a question. I know the city's always really good. When I've gone to these events, there's always porta potties and plenty of like trash receptacles. Places are clean. Places feel safe, which is really great. I'm wondering if this year there was going to be any thought to providing areas for nursing mothers or very young children. Porta potties are great, obviously, but it's
yeah,
not like you want to nurse or pump. And if you have
Yes.
a child that needs changing and you don't want to just be like, well, spread eagle on the lawn, everybody.
Oh yeah, nope. I have 3 boys. I understand. Yeah, they're at the airport. There's these cute little pods, and I got very excited about it. And then I priced them out, and I can't remember. They were several grand to rent. So it has been on our radar. Whether or not, trying to find something that is a good solution that is financially affordable, but also, make sure that, yeah, it's definitely been a thought and a topic that we have had. So I used to have to pump in the locker room down here and people are walking in. trying to get ready to go work out. So definitely something that's been on our radar. So that's been a little cost prohibitive, but we'll definitely write that down and maybe we can figure out a solution. Thinking, is it a tent with sidewalls with really good marking and stuff on it? Because there's a lot of tents out in the event where the nursing pods looked a lot different. So hopefully maybe the prices have come down or there's another option. But I'll do some research on that as well. Yeah, because Westy Fest or 4th of July where people are there a very long time, I think that is a great idea. So
I know the Broomfield Library is the closest one to my house, so we go there a lot, and they have, I think they're called Mamava.
Yep, that's it. Yep. It is very expensive.
My daughter's fascinated with them, and I'm like, you don't do that
Nope,
anymore.
yeah. Actually, I think I saw that one there too. That actually, like, I know the airport has it, and I think it was at a theater performance where I saw that. Yep. So and I reached out like immediately. So maybe the prices come down a little bit, or we could talk with our sponsorship coordinator, see if we could figure out a way to offset some costs on that. But yeah, I thought they were like the best thing on the planet too. So,
or even if there's some sort of portable masking or mobile masking like barrier that we could place and designate a comfortable and safe area.
Yeah.
Great. Thank you, Jillian.
Yes, thank you.
I saw Steve's hand. Unless Jillian, did you have anything else you'd like to add? Okay, perfect. Thank you very much. Steve, please.
Just a quick question. Do you think the lack of a theater venue impacts on your special events? I think of North Glen seems to have quite an active theater program, but it might be something that, in terms of the facility plan, that could be put into the budget down the road. I just wondered if you face problems because of weather, et cetera, where that might serve as a backup and or solution.
Yeah. Luckily we have other community partners that kind of do some of the indoor theater stuff, and ours is outdoor theater, and we very much lucked out this year. But we've had forest fires, like ashes. So we've had definitely some challenges with some of those things, and but we've also hopefully be able to start picking some spots where we can have a little bit more indoor access. Our partnership with the Catamounts. We've been, I think this will be our 7th or 6th year. So so that we're just kind of for the outdoor portion, because there are groups here that kind of do the indoor. I agree. We're kind of flanked by, Lakewood, Boulder, Broomfield and North Glen with indoor facilities for sure. So, but and there's been some talk with our group about using the theater at Westminster High School as well, if needed, if that fit into their schedule. So,
Steve, I'm really glad you brought that up. It's something I'm sort of long-term been interested in. We really are surrounded by communities that have arts facilities, performing arts, as well as instructional facilities, which we do have at the rec center already. As well as conference facilities. There really aren't a lot of mid-range conference facilities available in the area, which is a niche we could fulfill. And this probably goes to Alex in longer range planning. Would love to see us begin looking at how do we consolidate and provide facilities for the arts. Certainly the Historical Society, Westminster Historical Society could be a part of that. So that's something that I think we could do more of. And with the conference facilities, and that becomes an attraction, as well as with the performance facility, to bring people into Westminster to have dinner here and so on. So thanks for bringing that up.
Yeah, and I would also argue that our artists locally, and I've said this for a long time, often are priced out of studio space.
Yep.
Priced out of so I would also maybe wonder if there isn't an opportunity to look at some of these spaces and create shared maker creative spaces to where our artists could,
Yeah.
you know, especially those of them, you know, that they live here, but they have to travel, and that can be an access point, you know.
Yeah.
That might be a really cool thing to explore.
My studio is in Lakewood.
Yeah. So, right.
And I would like it to be in Westminster, but
Yeah.
it is.
Right. Oh, Steve, please. Mhm.
I'm done.
No, okay.
I think my hand's down, isn't it?
All right. I thought you were just,
Yeah.
okay.
Thank you for
Good.
bringing
No,
it up.
that was
I
great.
really appreciate that.
And I think a lot of us share your passion for sure. So,
Great.
cool. Okay. Any other thoughts, or comments or questions? All right. Thank you both for your time and energy
Thank you.
and all of the service you do for our city. We appreciate you. Thanks for your time.
No, we had the X.
Yeah, and it goes back.
Okay.
At all. I know it's dangerously close to the call.
Yeah, like-
Like you're either gonna share the screen or.
I did that before, so I was like, I'm plugging now.
You're probably not very nervous. You'll just.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, so I want to mention, even though it's not on the agenda, I did want to talk a little bit to a great conversation I had with Mr. Palmer. And since he was okay with me, you know, identifying him, but he had brought up a concern, and I'd heard maybe something similar around our construction sites. As we know, the city of Westminster is rapidly developing, and you know, he lives in an area that happens to have some of this development taking place. And one of the things that he had talked about is he had talked about maybe a concern around our construction signs, our signage being monolingual. They're English. There's not any multilingual construction signs, which could pose as a safety or an access issue for persons who don't speak English. And so he had brought up the idea and had talked, and I know he has a little bit of a history of like, you know, he's tried to reach out to the city. City policy doesn't necessarily cover that at this point. But what we talked about is we talked about putting it on the table for us. And what I'd asked Kate to do is I asked Kate to see, just to kind of explore, do some homework, do our due diligence. What are some of the parameters? You know, I don't want to go by hearsay, but what are the parameters around, you know, making sure that construction sites are accessible in a multilingual way, one. And then if, you know, we get that information and kind of talk through what the guidelines are, then looking at a possible, you know, recommendation project for us to maybe, if that's something we feel that is important, we could push that and maybe create some work around that and move some advisory to our city council. But we wanted to make sure to do due diligence and kind of see what's out there first, get all the data. So we're collecting that. We hope to get that by our next meeting. So we'd like to put that on the agenda.
Yes.
For next meeting.
Yes.
For sure.
So if we say there isn't a policy, does that mean there's a policy against it? Or there just isn't a policy in favor of it?
I feel like from what I understand, that the policy is absent of that language.
Okay.
Yeah.
So in Parks and Rec,
Doable.
we do, ours are,
Yes.
Yeah.
that's why the question from Lauren back to me
Yeah.
was, where is this?
Yeah.
So I think,
Construction.
I think what we need, we just need a little more research. And some more questions with Mr. Palmer, just to make sure that, if it's private construction, I don't know that we have requirements around that. So, but I will definitely get
Yeah.
back from the comms
It should be
team and,
doable.
yeah,
Really should be doable.
for city projects.
And talking about like who funds those signs, you know, and it feels like for the developers,
Yeah.
the persons who would, that I
Yeah.
think that would be a part of the agreement.
Yeah.
So then would there be something that we could do to say, okay, with all of the development happening, could we ask to spend a little, what I would feel, and maybe I'm wrong, a very comparatively small little chunk of money to create a more accessible multilingual messaging around safety and around kind of what's going on in the community. So, Yeah, for as far as road signs and
They're creating the signage anyway.
Yeah.
It's just a matter of being inclusive.
does that make sense with kind of it? And it was
Yes.
a really lovely conversation, and I feel like we brought up a lot of great points and. Okay, so if everyone is okay, we will bring that to our next agenda item, and we'll have some more information. Hopefully we can present and share, and that will help determine maybe our next steps. Okay. Cool. All right, so we kind of talked about what's happening in the community, but I want to give everyone a chance to just kind of share out if there's anything that's going on that we feel we'd like to be at. We have some future meeting topics we've lined up, but we'll just kind of go around and I'll call on you. And if you have something to share, please do so. I want to make sure to include everyone. By the way, Miguel, it's good to see you, or at least see your name. Welcome. Didn't get a chance to welcome you. And Miguel, if you have anything you'd like to share or any updates or anything, please feel free to do so if you are in a space to.
Hey guys, thank you and good evening. Nothing major to share from my end. Nothing too new from the policing standpoint, from my perspective that I've heard about. Um, just continue to do some of those case reviews for the city. And then as far as involvement in SRC, we have an upcoming board meeting, I think next week. So I should hopefully have some more information after that if there's anything to pass on, but nothing major as far as like development for SRC and the city yet, but hopefully something coming soon.
Great. Thank you so much. Jillian.
Hello. Things have been going good. Mostly we've just been trying to, now that school is back in session, trying to navigate the walk to school and realizing that not all, like certain sidewalks get plowed on their own, which is really cool. And that makes it easier. The bus station is still awkward because there are 2 bus stops near my house, but the bus schedule isn't posted at the bus stop. So if you don't have a smartphone and you can't download the app, you can't figure out when the bus is coming, where it's going, any of that. But otherwise, things are good. The parks are open and looking forward to the new year.
Thank you for sharing that, Jillian. We may even add some of that as far as the public sort of facing language or signage that we can maybe talk through. So if you're okay with that, Jillian, we'll maybe add that as part of our discussion next time.
Absolutely. Please do.
Okay. Thank you. Appreciate you. Awesome. Donna, please.
Yes, I will just piggyback a little bit on what Jillian said. Believe it or not, that there are seniors who do not have smartphones and do not want them. So therefore, it's difficult for them to be able to access some of these things. So I think if we can support in whatever way, and I was thinking about what you had said, Justin, with regard to the signage, I'm a little surprised, and maybe Michelle can kind of piggyback with me here, having spent some time in the legislature, that there is not legislation that requires that to some degree, because it definitely is a liability situation for not only the developers, but also I could think possibly for cities and communities because they license and so forth. So I think maybe it might be a good thing for us to get somebody's attention on. So I heartily agree with that.
Thank you. Michelle.
Hi, everybody. So obviously, as probably most of you already know, the legislature started today. It was opening day. A little bit of pomp and circumstance, a little bit of work. So there were a number of bills that were introduced today. So maybe by next month, we can talk a little bit about some of the bills that are in the pipeline that are, good for us to keep our eye on that might impact some of the work that we're doing in Westminster. speaking of the work that we're doing, one thing I wanted to bring up to the group is for us to go back to remember the work that we did back in the fall and towards the end of the year where we were setting our goals. I would love for us to incorporate, to start collecting all that information and maybe start to prioritize some of those goals so that we have them on the agenda every month so we can sort of chip away at those over the course of the year.
Great. Yeah, great
Yeah.
point. Yep, thank you. Yeah, I mean, we definitely have to align what our work is to the goals that we have set forth. So yes, I think that's aptly
I
made.
think we set some project goals, like some actual tangible goals. So I thought maybe now would be a start of the new year, be a good time to go ahead and start putting those on the calendar, if you
That's
will.
great. Yeah, and then have some, criteria for success on how we're meeting those and what we need to do. So yeah, 100%. I appreciate that thoughtfulness. And I think it could be definitely an agenda item for next time to maybe do some update around policy and things that are coming down, like you said, the pipeline that may pertain to some of our goals. So great. Thank you. Steve.
Well, like others, it was a good holiday. Happy New Year, everyone. I've been doing some informal pedestrian surveying, following up on what Jillian was discussing. And it's pretty interesting, people's different perspectives on how navigable the city is in terms from a pedestrian vantage point. I think one of our future meetings with one of the city engineers might be quite instructive to see how they either tackle requests for neighborhood crosswalks, for example, or issues with traffic lights, things like that, that are, or in Jillian's case, what sidewalks get plowed and who do you call if they're not getting cleared in time with snow, those kind of issues, and how we can be, well, I don't know, more instructive on opportunities to improve.
Great. Yeah, that's a great question about what that process might look like and how that, measures up, and then how do we access those sort of systems when we need them, right? So, yeah, it's a great point. Great, thank you. I definitely think that aligns to the goals that we've already kind of discussed a little bit to Michelle's earlier point as well. So, thank you. Seth.
I got nothing to report. I'm boring.
I see your beard matches your shirt.
Thank you, Seth. Alan.
Well, I already mentioned an idea for the PRL and how that could jive with us. The one thing that there were a couple different residents and I initiated was following the election. Following elections, I was rather taken aback by the fact of the firefighter supporting them went down. I think money for the schools may have gone through. I'm not sure, but there were certain things that just it kind of made me think again. What do Westminster residents really want? Why did we turn down certain things like the money for the firefighters, or actually for the city for firefighting? So we had an initial only 5 people showed up for initial, but I'm going to do this again because I really want this to happen in various parts of the city. Just community people getting together and saying what they think they want in the city. Obviously can't do it on the grand scale like PRL, going out and surveying 2,000 people. Is that what you got responses from? is what I heard. But who knows, we might be able to get 2,000 people with small groups and then just to compile the information from these groups. And it's kind of informal, but to find out, I think Steve was going to come, but he got ill on that one. So he didn't show up. So we certainly missed his input on that.
Yeah.
But we're trying to find people from different areas. I really want to get people in the south part of the city.
Might also look at how the budget issue or the ballot issue was phrased.
Mhm.
And promoted.
Well,
Or not.
you know, on the surface, you could say, well, people don't like firefighters. But I don't think that's true.
Mhm.
If you looked at how it was funded with sales taxes, which are regressive, rather than property taxes for a service that protects property. And I think there may have been some recognition around that it's not aligned,
Mhm.
the funding and service.
The other issue that Alan and I were both surprised about were the failure of the, I call them council districts.
Yes.
The district idea, was it our failure to market that? I know this board, for example, was very supportive of that, but somehow the communication
Nope.
didn't seem to get through.
Yeah, and we technically did not take any kind of formal stance on any
Probably shouldn't be, yeah.
electoral piece, right? So that's speculation. I think a lot of us have sort of diversity of opinion. I do believe there was quite a bit of support and there were also quite a bit of concerns. I think, we reflect some of the diversity of thinking of the great city that we are in but we do have to I just want to make a comment that we do not support
Right.
as a board, as an advisory group, we don't support any kind of election piece going out.
But if anyone wants to do any small group discussions
Sure.
along this line,
Yeah.
what do residents want?
Yeah, that's a whole different, you're collecting
Mhm.
information.
Mhm.
Yeah, and it's about really gathering those data. We've done that in the past. We've had that first one that kind of drove the first few years. I think several of you remember when we did that sort of big, where is it, the MAC, where we had like the tables set up and a few of us facilitated. There was some good information, but I'm thinking that like with the special events, for example, maybe that's where some of that information gathering could take place. If we have like a presence at some of these big events at the city, maybe we have some ongoing data collection about what do you value? What do you want? How can we support you? That might be an opportunity to collect some of those data. So.
That's worked really effectively for the Historical Society.
Mhm.
Being at, especially the movies in the park
Mm.
and then Westy Fest, they really make a lot of contact with the community.
Good points, Paul. Thank you. All right, Alan, thank you. Anything else?
Nope.
Okay, Rich.
Well, I'll just bring up again what I brought up with you before we actually started the meeting. That's there's a Baha'i children's class doing a service project, and they've gathered mostly children's winter clothing and coats and jackets, and they want a place to distribute them. So, and Justin has consented to give me some guidance on that I can pass on.
Okay. Anything from city staff or anything else that we maybe
What about from you?
feel inspired to share? Oh, yeah,
Justin?
our focus has been, I think similarly to you, I was thinking, I know we've recognized, some of these events and things, and also acknowledging that our city staff has a capacity for these pieces. But what can we do to honor service with Martin Luther, King Jr., which I love that perspective. What can we do for Juneteenth? What can we do for some of these things that maybe, we could take some initiative or some leadership or some, guidance on? So maybe that's something that we could do to kind of go back to Michelle's like anchoring into our goals. What are our goals and how can we support and where do we sort of put our energy and our action and how we meet those goals? So I was just thinking about that. No, it's really, I've been focused on Arts Week and kind of rolling through that. So continue to plan. My ultimate goal will be that hopefully the next time having a little bit more information that I can present with Kate and Rich to the board, and we can really talk through some more details of that specifically. But I'm really excited. It's been a really lovely process, very collaborative. And ever since that inception, it's always been about bringing this board in to that planning phase. So, yeah. And if anyone is interested in being a part of those conversations that we have, I think once every few weeks right now, or once every 2 weeks.
I'll probably shift.
Yeah, we'll shift soon, but you're welcome to come in and come out. We do have kind of a through line, so if you'd like to commit, please let us know. But I think it's been really good and productive and informative. So yeah, and appreciate Kate's leadership on that. So yeah. Yeah.
Just making a note.
That's great.
I will just burden you all with the meeting link. You can accept it or not. Or you can accept it and then come or not come.
Yeah, and pop in if you see fit.
I can do that.
Yeah. Okay. We've talked about a lot of the events coming up. We will continue to try to figure out ways in which we can ensure presentation and, representation and so forth from this board. So we've been kind of shut down with, we can't do Google Share. We've talked about doing email. So, which is public record, but we will continue to look at that. We may just do email. I think at this point is what we finally decided on, but okay. And it is public record. Great. Okay. Anything else for the good of our group before we release? Thank you so much for your energy and time. We appreciate you. Look forward to a February meeting. We have quite a lot of robust things, just kind of note future meeting topics. I know on the 12th of February, Rich is presenting at the Youth Advisory Panel. So that will be awesome. Great representation. And then in April, we do have Kate Scarbeck coming back to provide some updates on how we're working through our plan to support persons who are displaced or persons who are identified as homeless. So,
And we do still need to do some thinking around inclusive zoning.
I was just raising my hand.
yeah,
I've reached out to John McConnell, and he and Stephanie Troller they're looking at the May meeting
Okay,
to come and talk about
good.
Where they are with the Unified Development Code and affordable housing.
so then, because we've been waiting, because we'd like
Yeah.
to meet on that as well. So
Exactly.
I know we've been kind of on a hold. So thank you, Rich, for your patience, but I agree. It's been one of those things. So let's get some traction on that then.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd like to have a better sense of the inclusivity, or the inclusive, that's us,
Yeah.
the zoning board and their process and.
Yeah, and he'll be an excellent resource for that.
Okay.
Great. Thank you.
So that's tentative. I just sent him an email at the beginning of our meeting, just following up to see
Thank
if he
you.
had that.
Thank you.
All right, friends. It is 7:27. With no further issue, we will officially adjourn. Thank you all. Appreciate you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Ciao.
Thank you. Seth, where are the minutes?
Probably on there.
It's probably there.
It's probably like
They're probably there.
Probably emailed, like, hey, done.
You never put in the 727.
I had to finish the word adjourn and he was like, click.
I'm just surprised.
Let's see if
I
they're
got
there.
the whole meeting without a little person or a dog insisting on being in the camera shot too. Like my daughter knows. It's like when I have my evening meetings, she comes in. It's like, why isn't your camera on? They can't see me. I want to say hi to everybody. I'm like, you do not need to be here right now.
And you know what? They're always welcome.
That's okay.
You're always,
That is perfectly okay.
Yeah. You can bring the entire
Some of
family
us-
if you want to. It's an open
Some of us thoroughly understand.
Well, good to see you. Thank you so much.
Be well and be careful walking on the ice out there.
Yeah,
See you next time.
Thank you.
yeah, where'd all our warm weather go?
I love all these lights out here.
Yeah.
And the